Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Taking another look at Mana, and just before we do, we look at Bitcoin, kind of get a baseline of what's going on here. Now, first of all, I do want to let you know, I hope you're having an amazing day. I am, honestly. It's been a great day here so far. Happy Saturday to some of you, perhaps Sunday for some, right? Depending on where you're at in the world. Either way, thanks so much for joining me. We're going to look at Bitcoin here first, just to get a baseline. Something I just want to identify really quick on the 4-hour chart. We have the price is basically above the 50-day simple moving average again. So that's a really good sign, kind of helps us out there. The 200 is trailing behind, but kind of reaffirming the support that would, 63,000 will effectively continue to hold moving forward. So, 63 is a strong support, 65 is a potential resistance level at this point. So we're kind of just stuck within this range. My sentiment is the fact that we'll see the price slowly increase over the weekend based on, weekends traditionally being more green and the fact that we had a major sell-off. A lot of accumulation recently. People are trying to kind of add to their position for that next leg up. So anyways, Bitcoin's in very, very good shape. And let's go ahead and take a quick look here next, of course, at Mana, the whole reason why we're here. And just before we do, you're new to the channel, not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes, but bear in mind, I love educating people how to become better traders. And this is my thing. I just love it. Been trading for over 15 years. And my goal is to obviously make sure that you become a better trader. If you need more of a leg up, perhaps a little bit more one-on-one attention, I have a trading community that allows me to send out signals for every single trade that I take, so you can kind of see how to structure that. But more importantly, you become a better trader by osmosis, by just kind of learning and absorbing information when we're all communicating openly about best practice. So check that out in your own time. Now for Mana here, let's go ahead and look at the one-day chart and work our way down. That's typically how you want to start. And first of all, moving averages are well away, but perhaps the next couple weeks we might see those start to make an impact. We can see it's working pretty well within the Fibonacci retracement lines. We got a major resistance at about $3.63, and of course a pretty strong support level here at 230. It was only tested below that because of the sell-off from Bitcoin on the 10th with the Evergrande scenario over in China. So that kind of basically, for lack of better terms, ever since then it's just been ramping back up. Today, obviously, we have a long candlestick wick there, so we'll see what that looks like on the smaller time frames. But we're back up over 70 on the RSI. That's a good sign, because that's typically a potential resistance that could become a support. Obviously, the MACD is a little bit off based on the price movement on the one-day chart, but the 4-hour chart might give us a better representation. Now, I like this here. I like the fact that RSI is back under 70 on the 4-hour chart. It's a faster moving time frame, so 50 to 70 is a sweet spot in my personal opinion. I don't love RSIs up over 70 on the 4-hour chart. I think it's kind of problematic. It's okay on the one day because that's more long-term, right? It's more macro, but when it comes to smaller time frames, 4-hour chart, RSI under 70 is perfect, okay? Now, what's great here is it looks like Mana is bouncing off of the support level here at about 332. So it wouldn't be a terrible consideration to add to your position. We'll look at smaller time frames, of course, to identify, but Mana has a tendency of kind of just working well within these parameters, okay? So let's take a look here. You'll see what I mean on the 1-hour chart. And I called this out yesterday when the price was kind of closer to the support level here. So when I last covered it, was coming back down to bounce off the support. And sure as heck, 2 or 3 hours later, comes right back up, ramps up, gets resisted out at about 332, and then it kind of eventually tests and pushed and tried it about 3 or 4 times and broke again. So all in all, Mana has a tendency of pushing up to the next major resistance level, getting pushed down to the next major support, and rinsing and repeating that same action, right? So you can just kind of see it here, getting rejected, support, rejected, support, rejected, support. Okay, so hypothetically, the next push will be up to here, and it'll go ahead and support right there around, 363. So it wouldn't be a terrible consideration to kind of consider just a long position here, maybe a swing trade for the next, 2 to 5 days, see where it goes, because there's a good chance it'll keep legging up the way that it has. It has good momentum in that sense. We are seeing also higher highs and higher lows very consistently. So adding to your position right now around 340 is not a terrible call. And obviously, if you were to just say take position there, you come up to just say the next major resistance and sell, looking at 6.7%, and obviously the next highest above that, somewhere around the range of about 15 or 16. So it is very likely for that to continue upwards just based on its momentum. Let's look at some other key indicators though, kind of see where we're at. We got a nice reset here, and this is a cool thing about Mana as well. When it comes up to a 9, it usually consolidates and goes sideways and then retraces. But historically, it hasn't even gotten to 9 on TD sequential. It's been hitting up about 7, consolidating, 7, 6, 4. So ultimately, it's doing well in that sense because it's giving it a chance to breathe, right? Every time it increases, it's followed by a nice little decrease, about halfway down. Then it consolidates for its support, and breaks the resistance the day after, right? So it's keeping that rinse and repeat action here so far. So I feel confident in saying that, somewhere in the range of 330 to 340 would be a good entry point to the upside, just based on that sentiment alone. And let's go ahead and see where we're at on the cloud. Looking good. Awesome. I love it. I like to see when the cloud is right around the support level. It effectively should work as a support as well. So oftentimes you say the price were to come down and consolidate around here, it could and very well should ride the Ishimoku cloud on its way up. So that's a pretty strong consideration. So I think that will likely happen. We'll definitely see here in the near future. But again, let's go with the worst case scenario. Heaven forbid the price were to retrace and come back down to the next major support. That's down about 11%. It's not terrible, of course. My sentiment here is, just based on the momentum that has it, won't do that. But if it were to, it's not the end of the world, because then the price would eventually, come back up. Because as you can see, it spent a lot of time down here in this lower support channel, this lower, Fibonacci retracement zone, but only because it came up. Look at this. How much percent is this? In like 24 to 48 hours, it came up like 250%. Just a unrealistic increase, right? Just phenomenal. Therefore, the price had to come down 60, 70% of its original starting point. That's pretty standard. But right now, you look at this is a healthy bull run, right? We got this nice staircase pattern. This is what I talk about all the time to my patrons. It's recommended to take entry in a coin that's doing something like that. And this nice little correction here leads me to believe that we might actually see another continuation of the upside, because this lowest point is higher than the previous low, so on and so forth. We got higher highs and higher lows pretty darn consistently. So the only reason why I'd say, become concerned is if this next low here, say this were to dip down and it comes right past this point right here, that would be a case in point where you might want to either, close out your position, or just consider just, turning around and maybe adding to your position there, depending on obviously your long-term investment, like dollar cost averaging, etc. But generally speaking, if we can keep this low here higher than this previous low here, right around $3.15, then we're going to be in really good shape. So I'd say 315 would be, not the best place to find the next low, but obviously we'll find out here soon what that looks like. But I like Mana. I like where it's at. It's got mostly bullish qualities here. There's nothing really bearish that I can see so far. So I think it's pretty likely for it to continue legging up. Now, is it going to ramp all the way up to what, $8.28 tomorrow? No, definitely not. There's a probability it'll do that within the next couple weeks, maybe by month end. But I think that's a bit of a long shot, because it's still, again, it takes a while for a coin to recover. So thankfully we're seeing some nice increase here, right? But this significant jump up, it took it what, like 10, 15 days to recover. That's pretty normal when you have that kind of increase. In fact, sometimes it takes longer. Like IOTX, the first time it increased, it took like 2 months to get back on track. And that's just kind of the natural way of things. But since we're in a bull market right now, things are recovering faster. We could see Mana continue to the upside. So, consider adding to your position now, maybe even opening a position. I think it would be safe, considering the fact that we have two pretty strong support levels established at 295 and 332. So it's a pretty good scenario here for Mana. So all in all, I hope you found benefit here, of course. If you do, like, subscribe, all the rest, feel free to follow me on social medias. All that stuff's down in the comments below. But more importantly, check out my Patreon community. We're raising the rates next month, just based on demand and obviously the amount of loads there for how many people we have in the community. So that being said, I want to have more one-on-one attention with you, so I'm probably going to cap that out at 200. So be sure to get in there before it's too late, I would say. But you can lock in your rate for the duration of your membership this month in November if you decide you want to continue to do that. So that is your choice. Either way, I don't mind. I appreciate you nonetheless watching this video, and thank you so much for your time here. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day.